If you're a fan of the Sly Guy podcast and you want to get more bang for your buck, more bonus content, and you want to support the podcast and help the podcast grow to where we want it to go, you can subscribe to our Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/Sly Guy podcast, where you can gain access to over 80 bonus podcasts a week, plus bonus podcast series such as the Champions League of Weird, the Serial Killing podcast, and the new and quite popular Dog Walks with Davey. So if you want to support it, head on over to Patreon, Sly Guy Podcast at patreon.com. Thanks for your support. Now, let's get started with the podcast.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Hello everybody and welcome to the podcast. Hope we are all feeling good. I, for one, am feeling fresh. I don't know if it comes across, because I do feel like I'm looking fresh, but I am feeling fresh and feeling good. And that's in spite of the fact that it's autumn. You know, a lot of people get all excited this time of year. This is the year where I feel like people have just lost their minds, you know, generally speaking. But this time of the year, especially, I don't know what's going on, what sort of fucking mythical witch wizardry shit's been going on. But I was walking my dog last week at 10:30 at night and it was bright. Then I went to walk him 4 days later at 8 o'clock, pitch black darkness. So what is going on there? What is the deal with the weather? How does that happen? There's been no changes in the clocks, so there's some dark arts, some evil wizardry at force, and I don't like it. I don't like autumn. It's the worst season of the year, is autumn. Now, there are people who, like, again, there's only 2 seasons in the year. Now, people go, there's actually 4 seasons, Davey. There's only 2 that actually matter, summer and winter. And why summer's the best is because it's summer, and why winter's okay as a second, because there's Christmas. And you can just go and drink and eat pies, and especially ham. Get a big lump of ham and just pick at it over the course of a week. That's a great time to me. But everything else, shit. I don't like being cold. And I don't like being cold for no reason, with nothing to look forward to. And that's autumn. Just the highlight of autumn is people losing their shit over a fucking coffee in Starbucks. Oh, we've got the pumpkin spice latte. Not even fucking pumpkin spice, just cinnamon and some other shit. Like, have you ever tasted a pumpkin? No. It tastes like shit. It doesn't taste like any of that shit that goes in that coffee. It's bullshit. It's fake news. It's a lie. And I'm not having it. And that's what people like about autumn. So what I'm saying to you is, roundabout way, fuck autumn. Fuck all those people out there like autumn. If you're one of these people like, oh, can't wait for autumn so I can have a pumpkin spice latte. You know what you should do? Probably kill yourself, because your life's not really worth living if that's the highlight. There you go. And then Halloween, people lose their shit about Halloween, but it's always, have you ever noticed, it's always freaks that get excited about Halloween? It's always the people that are like, you know, not to be offensive, but it's always the people with no friends that are like, oh, Halloween's, I can be the true me. All right, what's that, Jack Skellington? You're just a normal person that wears white makeup. I mean, big respect, you dye your hair black. Ever think about goths on that front? Like, obviously I'm talking goths here, and no offense if you're a goth, but who cares? But goths have this whole, we don't care about anything. We just do our thing. We don't care about society. We don't care about appearances. I hate my life. But yet, at some point, a goth is in their bathroom with the tongue out, you know, fucking dyeing hair black, being like, is this, like, got this? Is this? So they care about their appearance. There's Halloween having fuckers, and my wife, she's going to go and watch. This is the worst thing of all. My wife, Catherine, is, I don't want to say the biggest scaredy cat in the unit, but she's the biggest scaredy cat in the universe. And she goes to me, oh, I'm going to cinema with my friend on the 30th of October. I was like, all right, that's nice. What are you going to go and see? And she went, Halloween. And I went, what? She went, Halloween. And that film is the film that has scared me more than any other film for any length of time. Has been Michael Myers in Halloween. The boy who murders his family and then gets put in a mental asylum for years and years and years, then escapes and just I was going to say like a psychopath. There's nothing more psychotic than just, you know, getting out of an insane asylum, just killing loads of people. So basically that's what I'm saying. He is a psycho, and he scared the shit out of me. His mask is terrifying. His behaviour is terrifying. His mannerisms are terrifying. And for years and years and years, I was just scared of the dark as him. So there you have it. Scared of the dark as a Michael Myers. And then it was only maybe last year, or the year before, definitely in my mid-30s, it just dawned on me. he's not going to come for me. Michael Myers, say what you want about him. Some of the things he might have done, a bit questionable. Some of the things he may have done may have even been considered a little bit sly in and of itself. But Michael Myers only had beef with his family. You know what I mean? Like, it was totally irrational for me to think that once, he had just finally got his sister Laurie and just fucking bashed her head in or did whatever he wanted, that he would just be like, fuck, I tell you what, I need to just get to the airport here and head over to Belfast International and just fucking get probably a black taxi from Belfast International to Bangor, which, by the way, I don't know if he's got any dollar in that boiler suit of his, but it's not gonna be a cheap taxi fare from the International to my house. So I don't know whether he would get there and be just about to like pay the taxi man, come out and kill me, and then he'd probably be like, fucking hell, I'm absolutely fleeced. I'm gonna have to pawn this knife and this mask and just try to get my way home again because I'm stuck here. And I don't think he wouldn't really fit the je ne sais quoi of the Gold Coast, as a sociopathic, psychopathic murderer of women and children. And men, for that matter. He just kills them all. This is a good thing about Michael Myers. He doesn't discriminate. He doesn't have a set MO. He just kills everybody. He doesn't like his family, especially, but if you're in his way, he'll fucking top you. He'll stab you. He'll break your neck. He'll push you over a building. He'll shoot you. He'll do everything. He'll boil you alive. That was another great one. Which, as a young boy, you're obviously, you like it because you see a bit of nudity. But in this particular scene in Halloween 2, he just, drowns this woman in a boiling bath. Which, by the way, baths are never that hot. Where if you dipped your head in, you'd be boiled. So that was a bit fake. That was a wee bit outlandish as well. And Ben, see if you cough again and spread COVID, I swear. I'm going to Michael Myers you. I'm going to boot you out that window. Albeit this is a ground floor recording studio, so it'll probably just hurt him. Wouldn't kill him, at least. So we're in autumn. That's it. Halloween's to look forward to. Again, I don't know. Ben, what's your views on Halloween as a period or as a time?
It's fun when you have kids.
Yeah, but let me ask this. Do you feel that the Halloween holiday is heathen? Like, people often are like, if you celebrate Halloween, you are... Like, who would have a problem with Halloween? Jim Allister. And probably Jim Wells too. They both, I would say, would have a problem with Halloween. And I mean, I think Jim Allister has a problem with anything, really speaking. Halloween, anything to do with anything in this country. He's just a contrary kind of guy. But I think he would hate Halloween because it's teaching the kids the wrong things. I actually know some people who are like, we don't celebrate Halloween. And then I'd be like, listen, I don't celebrate it either. But if kids are coming to my front door wrapping it, I'm going to give them a slice of a vegetable roll. You know what I'm saying? Is that not what you do? You give them a bit of food. Trick or treat. People come to my door, and then if they ask for a trick or a treat, like what if someone came to your door and went trick or treat, what would you do?
Give them chocolates.
Yes, that's a treat. So you'd never go for the trick? No, not at all. Not even. See, this is the difference between you and me. I keep a yo-yo at the front door of my house. So any kids come, I just fucking... There you go. Fucking do one of these. What's it called? Like wank the cradle or something? I don't know. I'm not a fucking yo-yo guy, really. I just know the moves. I don't know the skills, Eat the pussy or whatever it's called. That's the trick. The trick I like to throw. But yeah, it's a weird thing. I feel like a lot of it's become Americanized too much now, Halloween. Back in my day, they used to come to the door and be like, the awkward song that they sing. It'd be like, Halloween is coming and the goose is get. See, it just got to the point now. Kids, at least, they sang that and they had to have the kind of... Please put a penny in the old man's hat. If you have got a penny, a hit me will do. If you haven't got the hit me, God bless you. Amen. Hallelujah. Get her butt up a hoots. All that stuff. Now I just come to the door and be like, sweets, mate. Any fucking candy for us? And they don't even call it candy. It's so American. Do you have any fucking... Imagine going to the door. You open the door. Alright, bro, do you have any fucking Werther's for me? Oh, I don't. Oh, but mate, what do you have? That's kids nowadays. You give them a sweet and be like, I don't fucking like about these. Do you have any upple fruits around? You fucking trappy bastard. And I'd be like, well, no. And then it's like, do you ever remember the Candyman story? Not the movie The Candyman, but this guy apparently gave... This is great banter, by the way. This guy apparently was giving poison sweets out at Halloween. People come to the door and he was poisoning kids with poison sweets. But... I just want to point out, it's better banter than that. The guy didn't actually poison kid. He just poisoned his own kids. Just killed his own son to get away insurance payout. Booyakasha. Boom, boom. And then it was like, when he was out trick-or-treating, some bastard poisoned a blackjack and gave it to him and he's dead. What actually happened was he just straight up poisoned his dinner, you know? Like the nanny in The Sixth Sense. There was poisoning. Or wasn't the nanny, it was the stepmom, the mother-in-law, wasn't it? And in The Sixth Sense, she was poisoning the girl, keeping her sick. And then the video was unveiled at the funeral and they found out that the stepmother had been poisoning the girl. Whoa. Serious drama there. Serious. But that's it. We're into autumn. Don't care anymore. Don't like autumn. I just sort of feel like autumn is... It's just a shit fucking couple of months until Christmas. And especially for me, because as we all know by now, and I've stated numerous times, I am becoming a full-time freelance guy in December. So I have that to look forward to. But in the meantime, like full fucking work to do. And it's boring. So I just feel like these next 2 months are going to drag. They could go super quick because my wife is now back to work. She'd been off for the year on maternity leave, helping, like, I mean, what is that called? What is she helping do? Like, grow my baby or something? Or like raise the child? Like, I don't even know what that phrase is. She was off maternity leave for a year to cultivate. I mean, would you say a 1-year-old you would cultivate an adult? That's not, it's still a child. You're trying, I fucking no, don't know. She's just fucking living in the house, not going to work, all right, for a year, and the baby's there too. So that ended, and today was the first day she was back in work, and I swear for the last 3 days, face like thunder on her. Me, on the other hand, buzzing, get a house to myself. Booyaka, booyaka. Why am I doing this week? Like, why am I back to 1998, like Ali G? Ali in the island, Ali in the Northern Ireland, boo! But yeah, she's back at work today, really depressed for the last 2 days. Hard paper around, trying to get a buzz on in the house, and she's like, I'm back to work. Then she went to work, come back today. I was like, yeah, sweet to be in work. I like work. I like my job. I like my colleagues. Probably more banter than my kids are, to be fair. And then that's fine. So she's back. I'm excited. I can't wait to whenever I just don't have to work anymore. And now people be like, you do have to work, Dave, if anything, you have to work harder. You need to put, because this is the standard of shit you're peddling at the minute, and there's only so far this can go. So that's where I'm at the minute. I'm trying to get towards that, get over the line, and just get work, get as Ben says, get work, get money, get bitches. Am I right, friends? That's what it's all about. And that's the name of this week's podcast. Get work, get money, get bitches. That's it. Have some of that. So yeah, it's exciting. It's fun. I just want to point out that for the patrons, they're probably thinking I may have died in the last few days because I haven't posted any stuff. I'm going to post a barrage of stuff in the next... Actually, when I finish this podcast, I'll do it because Ben and I are actually quite late in the studio this week. We're recording on a Tuesday. Normally we do it on a Monday, but somebody threw a spanner in the works this week because somebody's wife was going back to work and somebody didn't want to be out recording a podcast on the night before she returns to work in case, like, you know, I need to like take my kids to like a shelter or something to be safe from the anger of a returning mother. Like, say what you want, but a mum, they're the scariest people in the world, mummies. So, but she's back, she's fine, and that's where we're at right now. And I feel like the fact that we had to delay the podcast, I was doing a wee video audition for something before this, so I took how long did we take to do that? It's what, like 2 minutes worth of audition?
About an hour.
Took us an hour. Took us an hour to go over the lines, take a few lines, do a few lines, spread a few lines about, do a speedball, have a good time, and then do the podcast. So like now we're recording this like 10 past 10. So what I'm saying to you guys is you can buckle your seats, and by that I mean buckle your seatbelts, spoon, or you can just turn off and be like, I'll listen to last week's episode, which was great. So, you know, this one's might be a wee bit of a drag. This episode, Ben's sitting over there like what the fuck are you even doing this week? I'm just tired. I'm tired, man. I've had a long week. And I just was looking after my kids by myself today. And that's enough to drain any man. You know, I think if you had two really good kids who are really well behaved and obedient, it would be a struggle in and of itself. But you've two little pricks, nightmare. And the dog, this guy, the dog really mugged me today so bad. He actually mugged me so bad over the weekend because he escaped again. And we were like, again, what had happened, it's never on my watch he escapes, because he knows if I'm watching him and he escapes, I will I will choke him out. I'm not going to hit him because I'm not sly. I've only ever hit him once, and that was at the weekend. It was just a wee clip in the nose for being a bad boy. But he escaped, and there's nothing in this world that gets me more angry, stressed out, worried, and fearful than when my dogs disappeared. Nothing. So Catherine came to the door, and I was in the living room with the kids, and she came to the door and was like, "Have you seen the dog?" And I was like, "Well, he was in the garden with you a second ago." And she's like, "Well, he's not here now." And I was like, "Well, I do not have him in here, so where is he?" And then she started shouting his name around the garden, hoping he may have just like been hiding somewhere. But then you hear a voice from over the fence. This old guy's like, Is this your dog?" And I was like, "Why is Brian Blessed live in the back of my house? It's very weird." And she's like, "Yeah, what's he look like?" And he was like, "Well, he's big and white and really fucking strong and boisterous." And I was like, "Yeah, it's probably him." So she came into me and was like, "He's round at the neighbour's house. Can you go and get him?" And at this stage, I'm wearing effectively a vest, pair of really short shorts, white socks and flip-flops. So I'm not really in what you would say neighbourhood attire. You know, not sort of attire you want to go knock doors. So again, that attire's ridiculous. I fucked a gilet on, all was fine, headed round. And I picked up a bit of a slow jog because he wasn't my next door neighbour's house. He'd gone to the house at the back. So by the time I had jogged around to the neighbour on the other street at the back, I went in, the neighbour's just standing in his back garden like this. "He's gone again." I said, "You fucking son of a bitch," which is really rude of me to say that to the neighbour. I actually meant the dog, but he probably assumed I was like, disrespectful. Then what he had done is gone back into our garden and gone through another hole into my next door neighbour's garden. At this point, I was running back around the streets and I could see him in the neighbour's garden, and he was doing that thing, you know, dogs do when they're like fixing their beds. They like scrape like that, except he's doing it on her really manicured lawn. And I was like, "You piece of shit, you better not dig in her lawn, or otherwise I'll have to replace it and it'll cost me a fortune." And then I just shouted at him. I just went, "Hey!" And when he heard me shout at him, he disappeared again. And then I could hear Catherine just shouting, "Oh, he's back, he's back." And I was like, "You better fucking believe." And I have never been crosser. I went stomping into that house and was like, "Where is he?" And then she's like, "There he is." And he knew I was a cross man. I said, "Get over here." And he came over and he just was all hiding down. I say that, I like hit him. To be fair, I hit him like a bit of a ponce. I went, "You, it's a bad boy," but just like this in his nose. And it was probably not sore. I went, "Bad boy." And he knew, and he avoided me the rest of the day. Now, the thing that really annoyed me was, yes, he escaped. Yes, he could have got on the road. Yes, he could have got knocked down. And if he did get killed, I hope if he ever gets hit by a car, he gets hit just like in a way that like really just breaks his neck and kills him. So he's not A, hurt, and B, I can taxidermy him and just get him all filled up and get him actually on the desk. Like instead of this replica, just actually him there. So there was that, and then also I knew when he escaped what I would have to be doing then and there that day. I could wait no longer. Is fill the holes in the garden. And the problem with filling holes in the garden, you don't know where the holes are in the garden. So I went down to the corner of the garden, discovered 2 holes, 2 vortexes that lead into I mean, it was like something like from the Escape at the H blocks. You know what I mean? It was like there were it was like something, you know, the wee tunnel under the Crumlin Road jail that leads to the courthouse. It was like that. You could just go through one tunnel that leads to an entirely different street, or just the next door. So I had to get in there, had to get all the wire out, had to flip and measure the wire, had to cut the wire, had to get the wee wire tags on, had to get the, what are those things called, Ben, that you tie up your wife with when you're doing kinky stuff in the bedroom? Cable ties? Had to get cable ties on, tie them around. And yeah, it was a bit of a stressful job. I ended up taking the guts of 3 hours to do the complete work, because then I had to do that. Once I did that, I had to then put pots in under the undergrowth, had to climb under the bushes, had to climb under the tree. Looked like I was actually under spying in my neighbour's bathroom. Very creepy. And then had to go and get loads of paving stones and block it, so now I can't escape. And, you know, I just feel like I can sleep easy in my bed of a night again, because the dog is trapped. And the thought of him escaping it's just something that I hate more than anything in the world. And I don't know whether that portrays me as a good person, Ben, or a bad person, because I mean I've been getting a lot of feedback on this podcast recently that someone actually wrote in a podcast video genuinely somebody wrote in the podcast that I was the angriest man on the internet. And I'm going to say this, there are men on the internet who I think probably angrier than me. But let me see. I'm just checking. Speaking of angry, I'm about to get so angry. I'm just checking out that and I see that, oh no, there's now officially 203 ratings on my podcast, which means next week on the podcast, a man of my word, Ben. Do you want to be here for this next week? I'm going to try and fillet myself on the podcast. So, you happy to film it, or do you want to just set the camera up and leave?
I'll set the camera up and let you walk away.
Nice. I mean, that's what happens most time with my wife. She just sets up a camera, leaves, lets me finish myself, and it's all fine. But yeah, unbelievable. Like, all of a sudden, there's just gone from being a few reviews to being like 5 new ones this week. Normally, I would say if you haven't rated and reviewed the podcast already, please do. But this week, I've some impressive reviews. Let me just read them all. I should say read some of them. EDAX Events has said, what a guy, great stuff, very enjoyable, happy belated. Also, David, that's right. Did I talk about my birthday last week, didn't I? Yeah, it was a great time. I'm not going to be selfish and talk about myself again. Stephen has said, a very well done podcast. Amazing podcast. What I like, and he's given me happy 200th review, as in I know it's coming. But I mean, what I like about that is not even a good, like a funny podcast, a very well done podcast. So is it good content? Do people like it, or is it's just it's produced well? I think it's probably more of a doff of the cap to you, Ben. It's a very well done podcast. Well done. Claire said, and I agree with this, best solo podcast by the King of North Down. Gets me through Mondays and something to look forward to on Thursdays. I don't know why it gets you through Mondays without on a Thursday. Maybe it's because you're a patron as well. See? That's what it is. People on Patreon get a bonus podcast every Monday. Funniest guy with the best rants. I don't think... Do I rant? Am I a ranter? I wouldn't say I'm a ranter. I think I'm just a guy. I'm just a truth speaker. I'm just a guy that talks from the heart. I'm just a man of the people. If the people live in North Down, if you're outside of there, I don't give a fuck. But if it's there, it's all good. But thank you for that, Claire. Oh wow, and I mean, what I like about this review, 200 sucky. Someone's just written, and then said, great podcast. Can't wait to see him live. And this excites me, because people haven't necessarily been to see my shows, and they listen to the podcast. So that's an exciting thing, because I mean, if I got the 200 reviews in the podcast, I would do a little something. I'm going to do the same thing if we can sell out the Ulster Hall. So listen, come and see me live there. You get an eyeful, an earful, and potentially a mouthful.
If you're someone who is new to the podcast,
yeah,
and you're going, well, I'll read the reviews and see maybe what the podcast is about, I like that to be the first impression.
What?
Sucky.
I mean, there you have it. And this is another nice review that somebody has written, and I like it. It says, top class from the big man, which is just, that's nice. I said, as a new dad myself, it's great to hear the struggle from somebody else's point of view. Very funny, man. Is this a 200th? A lot of people are wanting to see that 200, but what seems to have happened, we're just stuck in like 198 for ages and ages, and then boom, 203 in a couple of days. And just keep it coming, because if we get to if we get to 300, Ben and I have 69 on this desk. If we get to 300 reviews by Christmas, Ben and I will do 69, and we will hold the position, and we will invite homeless people into the office to eat Christmas dinner off our back, whilst one is to say, and again, we'll do rock, paper, scissors to see who's the bottom of the 69. Because, I mean, I think it's probably better to be the bottom, wouldn't it? Because you don't want to be... In fact, you might choke to death on you know... We'll do rock, paper, scissors, okay? If we get 300 reviews by Christmas, 69, Christmas time, and we will invite the homeless people in here. We will get them in, give them a Christmas dinner, and, you know, make them feel good. And we will tell them that us doing a 69 is actually an art installation, and that they wouldn't understand that because we're high-end art dealers. So that's what we'll do. We'll record a podcast with all the homeless people. We'll make it a soup kitchen, except we'll give them proper tucker. Like, we'll give them good grub, and they get to eat it off probably mine or Ben's ass, depending on who's on the top of the 69. What I'd like to think, actually, Ben, we don't want to be disgusting, like, so if we do the 69 on the table, we'll just pop it out our zips, you know, keep our stuff covered. Like, we don't want to be uncouth. Like, our kids might grow up and watch these podcasts, you know what I mean? There might come a time where, like, my kids will go to school. I've never thought about this till right now, and now I'm startled and shocked, and I might have to delete all these. My kids will maybe go to school, and people will be like, hey, your dad has a podcast and he talks about sucking his own dick all the time. And I'll be like, yeah, bring that up at parent-teacher consultations. Yeah, we think your daughter actually maybe is a wee bit slightly warped. Oh, why is that? Oh, people just keep bullying her that her dad sucks his own dick. And then you probably look at me and I'd be like, well, physically and anatomically speaking, it's impressive. You know, it's a talent. You know, I should be in Cirque du Soleil, just sitting in the corner, noshing myself off. I think people pay to see that. Can you imagine, like, on Britain's Got Talent, they've just a big troupe, kind of like diversity, doing all this stuff where they turn into, like, one big giant robot and they're doing all these dance moves, and then just in the middle of it's just me sucking myself off. You know, the epicenter, the heart of the dance troupe, the heart of the UK dance scene, street dance scene. I am the heart of the street. Just, in fact, call the podcast Heart of the Street Dance Scene, because that's what I am. I'm the heart of the street dance scene, and I am doing interpretive art and dancing by sucking my own penis. And my daughters are going to see this. I bet you both of them are watching it going, because, like, my 3-year-old sometimes sees me doing things, sees me on podcasts or other things, and it's like, oh, it's my daddy. And when the future comes, she'll see it and be like, oh no, it's my daddy. What the fuck's he doing now? And hopefully by that stage, you know, I'll just be talking about, like, putting fucking sealant in holes in my wall, or, like, you know, a wee lacquer over a fence, something like that. That'll just be my life, not this whole autofellatio movement, because that's what we're all about here. We're the autofellatio guys, Ben and myself. Ben, you actually didn't try that until you met me, did you? know?
No, I wasn't sure how to get started on it.
And how did you get started?
A lot of
Stretching and determination.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, see, now you've started, would you ever finish?
Absolutely not.
No, I finish straight away when I do it, to be fair. Like, it's the move. But yes, thanks to everybody who has taken the time out to try and ruin my life by reviewing the podcast there. I do appreciate it. It means a lot. And also, if people want to support me, we've great news this week that the social distancing rules in theatres and other places have been lifted. The restrictions are lifted. So you can come to my Ulster Hall show. You can all sit beside each other. You can know what's going to happen. And we can just have a great time. I'm very excited about it. Ben's going to be there. Whether I have to coerce him into it or not, waterboard him into doing it. But I'm buzzing about it. And I'm going to be trying to, you know, just get out and do as much stand-up as I can. And I'm really looking forward to it. The show's almost written. I need to probably finish that, but it's going to be a good time and I'm excited about it and I'm feeling good. And Ben, how long have you been talking for? Because I know you're in a rush to get home because I held you here for so long doing the recording at the start. About half an hour. So you know what, we're just going to go into the slide dig here and then we'll go into listeners' questions and then we'll just get out of here. We'll do the slide dig first, shall we? The people seem to love this. The slide dig, for those of you that don't know, is a new segment that we have in the podcast, which is just open to all patrons. So if you're not a patron already, get on over and you make suggestions, basically, if you want things that you think I'll get annoyed about and I'll just be able to get fucking angry about and have a wee rant about. So this week I'll read out a few. And see, Karis has said, when you let the kids sleep in your bed because they aren't well and they boke all over your duvet. I mean, that does annoy me a bit. I did have an incident where my 3-year-old just did a lot of boking on me when I was on holidays. And I feel like, I'll be honest, Karis, it's something that would annoy me, but I feel like there's no intent behind it. Like, I don't feel like it's something they do on purpose that I can really harbour against them. John has said websites that have pop-ups telling you how many people ate viewings the product or are viewing the product right now. I don't get that. Like, people are like, what does that? What's that supposed to mean? Like, let me just see. I think. But why do websites do that? Is that to try and hurry you to buy it quickly in case someone else will buy it?
I know it's popular. I don't know.
Yeah, what's fucking weird? You know what? Here's the thing. See if you're a sheep and you go on those websites and be like 6 other people. See if I go on something and like 6 other people are looking, I'll be like, no, it's not original enough. Declan has said, when you drive anywhere in Belfast and the spies and millies don't wave when you let them out, or nobody's let you out of the junction, ignorant pack of hers. Now, this is what I'm talking about. See, not necessarily spies and millies, because just anyone. Nothing annoys me more than when I'm like, come on, carry on out. And you do it like this, you like let them out, you be like, come on, you wee ruffian, on you go. And see if they just look at you and they don't wave. I think there should be a law that, again, if I was the king of anywhere other than just North Down, I would say you should crash into people if they do that. Speaking of crashing into people, Declan, I think you've let me here. The thing that I found this week that really annoyed me, teenagers. Like, just the fucking guile of teenagers nowadays that cross the road at the slowest speed. And then you're there in your car and you have to actually slow down, otherwise you'll hit them. Have you ever seen that, Ben? Like, you're driving along a road and then like a couple of girls and a couple of boys, like those boys, that fucking hair, they're always doing this and it's over their face, and then they're all you're looking at them being like, why are you 6'7" but you fucking haven't broadened out yet? What's wrong with you, wee pubeless freak? You look at them and you go, why do girls want to fuck these wee pink dick guys? Fuck that. Didn't like it. Then I slowed down. I thought to myself, see if I was going at the speed I was going at, ram stam straight through the fuckers, and then I'm the one to blame. I'm a car on the road. If they're in my way, obliterate them. Am I wrong? Would that be a good policy? Or you should teach kids a bit of respect. And I think there should be a law where if children disrespect you, if their parents aren't the ones who are teaching them lessons enough, you should be able to teach them lessons. So therefore, I should be able to pull over. I should be able to take my belt off and just start whacking people. Like, do you ever see in Silence of the Lambs? Ben, can we get this clip up? Like, there's a bit in the Silence of the Lambs where Hannibal he escapes and he's just got a baton, right? And he just swings his baton like, that's so blasé. You should be able to do that to fucking kids crossing the road and just hit them. And then when they're lying on the ground with broken legs, be like, hey man, should have walked faster. Shouldn't have been a wee disrespectful piece of shit, should you? They have it. That's what it is. Declan, you've started me on that, and I like it. And you know what? Naomi's come in next with a point that sort of lets me, it sort of follows on from this to anyone's got a problem with it. All these sensitive snowflakes and the cancel culture. You can't say boo to a goose without someone complaining. I put them in the bin. You know what? See the people who complain about everything. They're the problem. They need to look at their own wee lives and go, why? Like, see if you don't find a joke funny, just don't find a joke funny. You don't have to be hurt by it. Oh my goodness, he made a joke. He made a joke about blind people. So, it's not like, oh no, it's not like they're going to say it, is it? But the point is, if you take everything anyone ever says as serious, you're going to have problems. We say things clearly we don't mean. Whenever you're a comedian, whenever you're a podcaster, you say things that you know are going to make people laugh or get a reaction. It doesn't necessarily say you mean it. Now I'm going to break down the fourth wall here. I'm going to say, listen, I'm talking to you guys directly. Haven't said I've done that through the whole episode, but on stage I say things about my family that I don't totally mean. I mean some of it, not all of it. But generally speaking, there are no people I like more than my family. I wouldn't say that on stage because boring. But like my girls, I love nothing more than hanging out with my 2 kids. Well, apart from hanging out with my dog, which I do like more than hanging out with 2 kids. But you know, that's boring to talk about. So I tell these stories, I sort of heighten them, I do this and blah 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 because it's funny, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm a good dad and I love my kids. You know, I'll joke about them all day, but like people will be like, you shouldn't say it about your kids, and I'll be like, say what the fuck I want about them, you piece of shit. Mind your own business and fuck away off. See people not mind their business, that's the problem. There's something that maybe we should rant about this week. People butting into other people's business, having an opinion on everything. See, if people want to cancel it, stop having opinions. Nobody needs to hear your opinion. Your opinion sucks balls and no one cares. Like, how many... Oh, I've got 27 followers that need to hear my opinion. Tell you what you can do. Go fuck away off, you self-entitled prick. Harry says people talk to you while you stood at a urinal. You know what? I quite like that. I quite like chatting to people. Except, you know what you're doing different here, Harry. Clearly it's annoying you when people talk to the urinal. What'll stop people from talking to you at the urinal is if you talk to their dick. Wee bit of a life hack for you. So someone's at the urinal and they're pissing away a bit. Alright, mate, if you just go, oh, you're not so bad, bro. They'll soon shut up. They'll put their wee dick away and leave. Or you'll end up marrying them. But either way, it's a good outcome. Via said people who take a picture and upload it to social media every time they're at the gym, fuck off. Yeah, like, see, just repetitive social media posts. Even like, again, hate to get into sea swimmers again. I should lay off them. Same posts every day. Oh, I'm at the beach. To a medal. Oh, I'm at the gym. To a medal. I'm out cycling. Who gives a fuck? You know, I don't. Dan says LinkedIn in general, but especially anyone who writes full essays about their highly successful day, usually broken down to 20 to 30 minute intervals, like awake at 5 a.m. to study Latin and meditating for 20 minutes, 2 organic eggs on sourdough at 5:45, ice cold shower, and so on. Wankers. Here's the thing, I'm going LinkedIn because I don't care about my actual job and I do comedy, so I'm not on LinkedIn. I thought I was at one point just because I thought, hey, you should be on here, but it's silly. But see, all people like that, people who do this sort of stuff, like, they are people that don't have fulfilled lives. See, if you have the time to sit down, Ben, you're a man who has a job, a couple of kids, a life. Do you have the time to sit down and say, I wake up at 5 a.m, I meditate, I have a cold coffee? No, because your lives are fucking boring. That's why you do that stuff. So there you go, Dan, well said. People on LinkedIn, boring. If you have a LinkedIn account, no offense, Dan, you're boring. People are boring on LinkedIn. I don't care if you're up at 5 o'clock. Here's what you should do. Go to bed later, sleep in a bit, drink your coffee. Stop having cold showers. You need warm showers to clean yourselves, you freaks. People having cold showers, coming out like they've been sea swimming. Oh, I feel amazing. You don't, you're just fucking... Stop it. Just be normal. People are fucking turning into freaks. It's a pandemic out here, and the worst thing about it is just people discovering themselves. Like, does anyone ever discover themselves and just go, oh, he's a wanker? Oh, I spent the last fucking weekend trying to discover myself and realised I'm a total prick. That's what happened if I did it. You know, I'd be sitting there being like, I need to discover myself. Then I would like look at my material or read some of my tweets and go, oh no, I'm a bellend. I'm a prick. It'd be shit. But people, that's what people need to do. Be more honest with themselves. See, another thing, speaking of like people doing all that shit and like meditation and all, see if you believe crystals affect energy. What you should do is just jam a crystal into your eye hole and fucking jump out the window. Jesus Christ. And the last one is, I normally just pick a couple of these, but I'm just going through them this week. Andy Moore said every narcissist on Instagram starting a mentoring program is especially cringe when they're from here. You know what? I just think it's generally quite cringe, isn't it? Being a like, what? Who decides I am such a great person that I'm going to be a mentor? The worst kind of people. See, if you're trying to be a mentor or you believe you're a mentor, you shouldn't be mentoring people because you're clearly a fucking self-obsessed wank pot. Ben, that was the longest slide dig yet, and I got angry. This podcast took a while to get going, but Ben, see, whenever I get the blood into my brain, that girl that wrote on my video podcast a couple of weeks ago, I'm the most angriest man on the internet. In that last 10 minutes I was. So I'll just finish off. I'll briefly go through the questions here because I know you need to get home, Ben. Christopher said, the other week I tried to get a taxi home from Belfast at 11:30, and due to Belfast taxis being run by 3 companies now, it was impossible to get one booked. Pretty sly. It made me reminisce about the good old taxi days when you used to get a local paramilitary taxi driver to pick you up. The car already stank of Chinese food and the driver smoked the whole journey home while giving a lift to 3 different fares at the same ride and having 6 people in the back seat. If you wanted to carry out too, no problem. But what was your most memorable, better or worse taxi journey? Well, I'm not naming any names here, but I had a friend who we were going to a pub, or to a bar actually. I think it might have been the Pot House. What did the Pot House become? Do you remember? It was opposite Ollie's. Oh shit, I don't even care anymore. maybe the dirty dog or the thirsty dick or something, I don't know. But it was the pothouse at the time. We got there and he was just blitzed. I think he had like a few bottles of wine possibly in a very short period of time, which if you have a few bottles of wine generally of an evening, too many bottles of wine of an evening, but he had it in maybe a short period of time. And when we got there, he got out of the taxi and just had pissed himself or shat himself or both. And he was like, no. And then this is one of the funniest arguments. He was like, oh, I didn't piss or shit myself. I just boked all over myself. I'm like, well, that's better, isn't it? That makes it all right. But he tried to go and get into the bar, and the bouncers were like, well, you've got shit and piss all over yourself, so obviously you're not getting in. And then you're like, oh, that's fair enough. So we tried to send him home in another taxi. So we like tried to like pat him down, cover him. We just put him in a taxi, send him home. Next morning, taxi driver turned up at my house. My dad was like, fuck you. And he's like, oh, your son was in the taxi with me last night. And my dad came down in my room and was like, oh, there's a taxi driver here to see you. And I was like, well, I didn't do fucking anything in this taxi. And he went back and was like, he didn't do anything in your fucking taxi. And the guy was like, well, who did? And not to be a tout, I just told him my mate's exact address and sent him there. I think they paid off the car valet, but I mean, they were good times. But normally speaking, most times when I was a bit of a reprobate in a taxi, I would have more often than not just been really blitzed and forgot about everything. So, there you have it. Oh wow, there's a lot of questions. As I walk in the store, oh no, shit. I went to my questions there and I found a piece of content with myself in it. Ben, why is my volume full? Imagine I put something like dodgy on. Let's go and see. Right. So many questions, so little time. Right. Pat has said, ball bag for a nose or a nose for a ball bag. I don't want to smell my hole all day, so it's a number one for me. You know what? I feel like my nose is going to look like a ball bag anyway when I'm older, so probably just have a ball bag for a nose. And yeah, it wouldn't be nice just smelling my asshole and balls and my taint all day. So fair point, really deep question. I appreciate that. John Joe said, with restrictions being lifted, will there be snogging at the Pillowtalk show at the Ulster Hall? And if so, do we form a queue? I think what I'm going to do is just say, listen, everybody turn to your left and just start licking. Just turn to the left, start licking, and all will be right with the world. Licking and sucking in the Ulster Hall on the 17th of December. TP has said, any facts that have blown your mind? There was one I heard recently. Like, in fact, Ben, can I go in to look at mind-blowing facts here? Or are you going to get cross? Like, do you want to actually look up a few mind-blowing facts? That seems like that would be quite a fun thing for you to do as a producer. And here, Ben, does this make anything easier? Instead of, if you stick whatever you done on that, would that help? This is a wee hard drive, isn't it? So we audition and stuff. Can we throw it to you? Can you catch it on the podcast? Skills. And he catches it. What a beast. See, again, this is what you're seeing. I have not enough charge on my old comp. So mid-podcast, just a wee recharge moment. And sometimes I just want to give that advice to people in life generally. You know, sometimes if you need to just take a wee moment to just recharge your batteries, maybe you do it. Maybe people take on too much. You know, maybe people do too much. Maybe people just need to get some crystals, go sea swimming, and then post a journal about it on LinkedIn. Go for it. If it makes you feel better, just don't follow me or let me follow you because that bores the shit out of me. Right. Mind-blowing facts, is that what we're looking for? Mind-blowing facts. I mean, that's the top search for mind-blowing. Oh, wow. 20 facts guaranteed to blow your mind. There's one with something about, like, somebody being born in, like, 2 generations or something. Was like the Incas or something really weird like that. Humans are the only animals that enjoy spicy food, obviously, because it's thinking. Humans are the only animals whose brains shrink. Could well believe it. Potato chips cause more weight gain than any other food. The fish is probably... These are shit. Bananas can't reproduce. These are not mind-blowing. These are shit. Most craziest facts. Most startling facts ever. You know what? This is supposed to be the 60 most interesting facts you'll ever hear. I bet you within 3, I'm like, fucking boring. The Earth's fastest gust of wind, boring. Recent droughts, don't care. The best place in the world to see rainbows is Hawaii. How the fuck's that interesting? I want to know about, like, the person to survive the longest fall, the highest fall to survive. Yeah, how about that, Ben? We'll look at that. The highest fall to survive. The highest fall survived. There we go. Was a woman called Vesna Vulovic, which sounds like somebody I'd make up on a phone call. The all-time record for surviving the highest fall without a parachute belongs to Yugoslavian flight attendant Vesna Vulovic. She was the sole survivor of a bomb placed aboard a jet in 1972. I mean, the big man shining on you this day, she plummeted more than 30,000 feet and survived. And how did she survive it? Air safety investigators attributed Vulovic's survival to her being trapped by a food cart in the fuselage as it broke away from the rest of the aircraft and plummeted towards the ground. When the cabin depressurized, the passengers and the other flight crew were blown out of the aircraft and all fell to their deaths. Oh no, horrible. So, let me see, is she still kicking about, this Vila Vulovic? No, she died at age 66. Probably because her whole insides are mushed. She didn't think of her fall every day, but admitted struggling with survivor's guilt. Yeah, that'd be pretty shit. Oh yes, do you ever watch the show Mythbusters? They recreated her fall, which probably didn't result in her surviving, because it was a miracle, wonderful miracle. But yeah, probably that stuff like that entertains me, and I'm more keen to see it. Hi Dave, if you were to star in the next series of Dairy Girls, what would your character be? I don't know. You'd have to, I don't know, see. I have to wait and see the series to see if any of the characters would suit me. But I mean, if I was the next character, it'd probably just an angry guy. If it was just me, an angry dad guy giving off about something. Ruth has said, not a question, but I'm super excited for the Ulster Hall show now restrictions are lifting. I hope you've got tickets. If you haven't already, they are selling well. So Ben, stick it up there. Janie has said, what will you be spending your high street voucher on? Pipeworks. Helen has also said, what are you spending your £100 on? Pipeworks. And Naomi, shockingly, has asked the last question of the day. You've been tasked to create your own sex toy. What's the design and what's it called? It would be some sort of like tightening device to allow you to suck yourself off. Ben would get a prototype. He would try it out. I would try it out. It'd be a lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, I haven't read any sponsors this week, so I'll just do a quick shout out to our sponsors, which is Modest Beer. Modest are an independent brewery crafting small batch beers for discerning drinkers. Brewed and canned here in Hollywood, County Down, Modest are on a mission with one clear goal in mind. That's not to revolutionise the craft beer market, but just to add to it with a beer that is crisp, delicious, honest and modest. Thank you, Modest Beer. Thank you for your ears. I'll see you next week. And, you know, if kids aren't crossing the road fast enough, hit them with your car. Fuck that. I give you permission. Bye.
I'm the sly guy.